It's under my feet. It's under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me.
Now I need you to do me a favor. Right where you are, just move your feet a little bit. Just step in place. Just march where you are. Right where you are. March in place. We marching right now for justice. We marching right now for a little bit as we get to this verse. Look here. I went down to a Union Station. I took where we are.
What is all from me?
I took back
my dignity. Took back my
them
humanity.
here.
I went down to the Union Station. I took back what they stole from me.
My dignity.
I took back my dignity.
My humanity.
I took back my humanity. It's under my feet. It's under my feet. It's under my feet. It's under my feet. Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me.
Let's do that under my feet one more time. They like that. I said it's under my feet. It's under my feet.
It's under my feet.
It's under my feet.
Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me.
I went down to the preacher's house.
I took back what he stole from me.
I took back.
I took back my dignity.
I took back.
I took back my humanity.
Come on. I went down to the preacher's house.
I took back my theology.
Take it back. Come on.
I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. And now it's under my feet.
It's under my feet.
It's under my feet.
It's under my feet.
Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me. No.
To the Capitol. I went down to the Capitol.
I
took back what they stole from me.
I took back my dignity.
I took back my humanity.
Come on.
Went down to the Capitol. I took back what they stole from me. I took back my dignity. I took back my humanity. And now it's under my feet. It's under my feet. It's under my feet.
It's under my feet.
Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me.
Ain't gonna let no system just leave us down.
Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me.
Last time, let them hear you. Let them hear you.
Ain't gonna let no system walk all over me.
Somebody say freedom. Somebody say freedom. Lift your hands and say freedom.
Here we go. When I say we want, you say justice. We want justice. We want justice. When I say we want, you say justice. We want justice. We want justice. When I say we want, you say healthcare. We want healthcare. We want healthcare. When I say we want, you say healthcare. We want healthcare. We want healthcare. When I say we want, you say voting rights. We want
Voting rights.
We want
Voting rights.
When I say we want, you say voting rights. We want
Voting rights.
We want
Voting rights.
When I say we want, you say justice. We want
Justice.
We want
Justice.
When I say we want, you say justice. We want
Justice.
We want
Justice.
When I say we want, you say justice. We want
Justice.
We want
Justice.
When I say we want, you say justice. We want
Justice.
We want
Justice.
When I say we want, you say justice. We want
Justice.
We want
Justice.
Give me the Somebody's hurting my brother, and it's gone on
Far too long.
Yes, it's gone on
Far too long.
I tell you, it's gone on
Far too long.
gone on
far too long,
and we
won't be silent anymore.
Did you hear somebody's hurting my sister? And it's gone on
Far too long,
yes, it's gone on
far too
I
long,
tell you it's gone on
far too long,
Oh, somebody's hurting my sister, and it's gone on
far too long,
and we
won't be silent anymore.
Did you hear somebody's hurting the family, and it's gone on
Far too long,
yes, it's gone on
far too long,
I tell you it's gone on
far too long,
yeah, somebody's hurting the family, and it's gone on
far too long,
and we
won't be silent anymore.
Don't you know somebody wants to take our health care, and it's gone on
Far too long,
yes, it's gone on
far too long,
I tell you it's gone on
far too long,
Oh, somebody wants to take our health care, and it's gone on
far too long,
and we won't
won't be silent anymore.
Well, did you hear somebody's trying to steal our voting rights, and it's gone on
Far too long,
yes, it's gone on
far too long,
I tell you it's gone on
far too long,
yeah, somebody wants to steal our voting rights, and it's gone on
far too long,
and we won't
be silent anymore.
Can we round that part right there? We won't be silent, and we won't,
Anymore,
and we won't be silent, and we won't.
won't be silent anymore.
Come on, one fist up if you really won't be silent, and we won't.
Be silent anymore.
It's okay, it's just a show of solidarity, and we won't.
Be silent
Come
anymore.
on, y'all, let's stand and sing it. Let me hear you sing it. And we,
There you go.
yeah, you sounding good.
Probably gonna get married in like a year.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, come on,
We already lived together, but like,
come on, y'all, let's join us. We won't be silent,
30
and we
Won't be silent anymore.
last time,
find somewhere amongst
and we
Won't be silent anymore.
We'll definitely stay like in this area. Right. Yeah, it's kind of a balance because like it's like I want it to be.
Not one step back. Not one step back. Good morning. Good afternoon. Welcome to Washington, D.C. Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival. We are so glad that folks have joined us. Thank you to the West Virginia Motorcade. Let's give them some noise, some appreciation for coming here to the nation's capital because their politicians, their senators will not listen. And we gotta come here. Indeed, we cannot, in these days, be silent. Not when there's the biggest attack on our democracy in our lifetimes. Not when 140 million people live in poverty or one healthcare crisis, one job loss, one emergency, like the emergencies we're seeing across the country in Kentucky and other places. We cannot be silent. So we're here to make our voices loud. loud and clear. We got to protect and expand voting rights. We got to end this filibuster. We got to pass the Build Back Better agenda as a first step. We got to raise wages to a living wage. We got to protect all our immigrant brothers and sisters and siblings. And we need to protect sacred land like on Oak Flat and other places across this world. We're here. We're going to hear from a powerful litany of voices from states across the country, from organizations across the country. Did you know that today is the birthday of Ella Josephine Baker, a freedom fighter that we all can learn from. And she said to us, until everybody is free, there is no rest. We're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep marching. We're going to keep taking action together until everyone is free. And so now it is my great honor to introduce my co-chair of the Poor People's Campaign, a national call for moral revival, the Reverend Dr. William J. Barber II.
My brothers and sisters, I want somebody, this is not the clock we're supposed to have, Rob. It's supposed to be a big one on the bottom. I'm always trying to teach stuff. I don't know why. Listen. First, we have lost organizers to death in these tornadoes. It would be wrong for us not to have a certain level of sadness today, but also to declare that in their memory and in their name, they may have died, but this movement will continue to live. So would you stretch your hands to the skies for 30 seconds and remember those who've taken their flight untimely, but as a declaration that we will never forget them. We hold them forever in our memory and in our hearts. My brothers and sisters, we gathered here today to declare our independence from corporate lobbyists, the money grabbers, and those who control the narrative about what is possible here on Capitol Hill.
Trader Joe!
They are, as Jeffrey Sachs said, a bunch of rich people trying to protect rich people. And they're not all rich people. We have some wealthy people of conscience, but some of them are just about power and greed. And for too long we have heard promises during campaigns that sound like it's going to lift up the people, and then once people get elected, they disappear at the end and during the congressional session because somebody somewhere that's got some deep pockets say it's not possible to get it done. Well, we refuse to accept the crisis of possibility and to say we can't get what's done needed to be done for God's people. Up here in D.C., Liz and I talk about it all the time. They want to separate us. They want you to fight for voting rights over here and fight for living wages over there. That's the Washington two-step. It's a way of siloing issues so that they can divide the fight back. But we're here to say, we know what you're doing. We peeped your whole card. We know what game you're playing, and you ain't dividing us no more, no how, no way. We are sick and tired of people moralizing about loving God and loving the Bible But in your policies, you pass policies that don't have a damn thing to do with God or the Bible. So we've come to say, get it done in 21. And be real clear, we don't mean if you don't get it done in 21, we're going to run away and put our tail between our legs. If you don't get it done in 21, we are coming double in 22 and 23 and 24 and 25. We're here today to say clearly that we will not accept the lies. Somebody said, I know a lie when I hear it. And there's a lie of scarcity that we've been told over and over again. There's the lie of being a moderate. Dr. King said moderates were the worst enemy of the civil rights movement. Oh, yes, he did. Because all a moderate means is you're going to do just enough to do nothing. We are here to declare our independence from abusive politics. And my brothers and sisters, and particularly the women today, I want you to help me, brothers too, but we've got to call this what it is. This is abuse. This is political abuse. It's like a mean husband just beating you down. This is abuse. I want to remind you that we stand on sound political ground. Ground that's stronger than billionaires' financing. We stand on strong political ground and truth ground when we stand against the suppression of the vote and the suppression of our rights, because the poor and low wealth have rights. As far back as 1948, the UN declared that there are rights. Right to health care, the right to housing. 2,600 years ago, the prophets declared that the poor have rights. And our Constitution declares we have a right to the establishment of justice. We have a right to equal protection under the law. So the right time to fight for right is always right now. When you take $14 billion, put it in the last election, and then once you get elected, you do things to hurt the people, and then you want to turn around and suppress their vote. That's abusive. That's abusive. And you understand what Manchin is doing on the vote. The goal is to slow it down. Let the states get everything passed. See, here's the trick. He may actually vote on something in March just to try to look good before the election. But by March, all the bad bills will have been passed. All the bad redistricting will have been passed. We don't need March, we need it right now. And any organization, black or white, that claims you are about the people and voting rights, and all you're doing is going in the back room with Manchin and not in the streets with the people, you are a part of the problem. Because you're giving him time. You stop $15 in a union for 32 million people who work every day for less than a living wage, and restaurant workers who work for $2.13 an hour plus tips. That's abuse. That's political abuse and lies. When you refuse to address the poverty that's killing 250,000 people a year before COVID, that's abuse. When you block child tax credit that could help 39 million families and 61 million children, that's abuse, Anna. When you block the pay for 18 million workers who come into our homes and wash our backsides and clean our loved ones' bodies when nobody else can do it, that's abuse. It's abuse. Nothing but abuse. When you look around and you know that our foreparents, they shed blood to stop abuse. You say, Barber, why you call it abuse? I'm calling it what the Declaration of Independence calls it. That's where I got it from. I mean, I got it from my heart. I know what it is, but we've got language. That's how. In the Declaration of Independence, it says, whenever there's been a long train of abuse, and usurpation.
Come on.
By despotism.
Come on.
The people have a right and a duty to throw off that form of government. Help me, Holy Ghost. And to alter the direction of the nation. Even before the Constitution was written and signed and amended, the Declaration of Independence said that anything that is directly opposed to everybody having life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, which are God-given rights, it is a form of abuse. And I think it's been long enough. That same Constitution, Declaration of Independence says there are times when people can endure suffering, but there comes a time when we can't take it no more. Is that where we are? Huh? And now with this, on top of this pandemic, what's wrong with political leaders? When 800,000 people have died from COVID today, 20-some million lost their jobs, 8 million people more went into poverty, while billionaires made $2 trillion. What's wrong with you when you get up in the morning and all you can think to do with your power is to hurt more people? You are an abuser. You're full of sin. We've come to help you get free. But if you don't want to get free, you're going to get your foot the hell off our necks. And we'll deal with your freedom later. But we ain't going to be silent no more. And so as I close, I've been too long. But I want you to know that today, Liz, who brought up my sister, Ella Baker, who my father worked with, who I used to go by her house. Yeah, in Littleton, North Carolina. But today is the 66th anniversary, 7 days removed from the beginning of the Montgomery bus boycott. Today, 66 years ago, they had been staying off the bus for 7 days. And they knew Jim Crow was a form of abuse. And they knew they had a right to throw it off. They knew they had a right to alter the course of history. And they didn't know how long it was going to take. But they didn't go in after 7 days talking about, I'm tired. I don't have much respect for leaders today talking about you tired. Do you know who we come from?
Come on. Come on.
They kept that campaign going for 381 days. Because they knew that losing was not an option. And they knew that the first victory is not them changing, but us fighting. And refusing to accept it quietly. And so for 381 days, I'm going to my seat, but they didn't have Twitter. They didn't have TikTok. They didn't have Facebook. They didn't have email. They didn't have all of you. They didn't have this diversity. But they did more with less. And how many of y'all know we got to do more with more? And if they could fight then, we've got to fight now. With love, we've got to fight. With the weapon of justice, we've got to fight. With the weapon of truth, we've got to fight. With the weapon of right, we've got to fight. How many of you are in this fight to win? Fight until justice rolls down like water. Fight until the poor are taken care of. Fight until there's real investment in our communities. Fight until we roll back this voter suppression. Fight! I don't know how much money they got, but fight! I don't know how many lies they'll tell, but fight! I don't know how many times they'll tell us to quit, but fight! We heard today they were going to target me. They said if we went in the street, they got arrested. The rumors are they're gonna target me and split me from you and put me in jail overnight to separate you from the rest of you. But you know what I said? I got another trick for them. I'm gonna let y'all go in the street. Since they want to target me, I'm gonna get some West Virginia and Kentucky. We're gonna do a sit-in in matches off. If you gonna target me, baby, come on and find it. Cause this ain't about William Barber. This ain't about Liz Theo Harris. This is about poor and low-wealth people and our advocates. And we're sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we know this nation can be better. And we were born for such a time as this, to change the course of history and throw off this abuse. God bless you. Pull it together. And so Reverend Liz is coming, and everybody's coming, and they're bringing their best 1 minute. They're acting like they're on right in Manchin's face or on CNN. No, they don't give you but 30 seconds. So folks said they're coming with their best 1 minute, and we start with the people. Poor and low wealth people who are impacted. Please take us through the first 12.
So we first want to bring up, because we have some senators that have been blocking. Senator Kirsten Sinema out of Arizona, and Joe Manchin out of West Virginia. So please welcome Frank Thomas and John Russell McCoy from Arizona.
I was born in the turmoil of the South in the 50s, the anger and depression in the West of the 60s, raised on welfare system, and suffer from academic negligence, no job opportunity, no career opportunity, piss poor pay, and hopelessness that was hard to face. The Voting Rights Act became effective August 6, 1965, but I wasn't exactly appreciating that as I was there 5 days later witnessing Los Angeles, California, South Central devoured by the flames. The pain and the poverty exploded in violence. We need to let them know in Congress that we want the Freedom to Vote Act to pass and affirm what the 14th Amendment had promised us, the right for everybody to vote without abridgment. We need to let them know, remind them of what's in the Declaration of Independence, that governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. We may be poor, we do not have to be in despair.
I'm a working father of 3 from Arizona, and I'm joining my voice with my sisters and brothers here today to demand a full Build Back Better plan and to protect and expand voting rights. And while you're at it, get rid of that racist filibuster. I stand in solidarity with my immigrant brothers and sisters. You know, this false message from the likes of Manchin and Sinema is what's good for the rich and the powerful is good for us all. And those in power are counting on us not to organize, not to educate ourselves. They want to keep us in the dark. This is Advent, people. They want us to keep us in dark, but they're counting on us to remain pitted against each other. But there's a power in being a part of a moral fusion movement. There's a power when we unite across the lines that divide us. That's why I'm here today. Let's get it done in 21. And you know what? If they don't, if these elected officials don't do what's right, we're coming back. And also, save Oak Flat. Save Oak Flat, people. Come on.
All right. We had a powerful motorcade from West Virginia that joined us today. Let's give it up for that motorcade. That's right. And now we want to hear from 2 powerful leaders from West Virginia, Reverend Paul Dunn and Catherine Joswick. Let's give a huge welcome to West Virginia. West Virginia's here at this rally.
Senator Manchin, as a spiritual leader of downtown Charleston, West Virginia, I stand to rise to say today, we need to lift up in your ear the prophetic mic of mandate. In the Bible, he said, what does God require of you? To act justly, to show mercy, and to walk humbly with your God. Holding up progress on a bill that will lift so many people out of poverty is not acting justly. Neglecting to vote on things that will help other people vote and give them the right to vote is not showing mercy. And refusing to communicate and compromise on things that will lift up this nation is not walking humbly with our God. I stand to say we will not sit silent. We will not stand still. You need to hear our voice today, and we're going to keep lifting up our voice, and we're going to keep on marching, and we're going to keep on coming back until justice rolls down like waters, until righteousness rolls like a mighty stream. West Virginia needs you to stand up and be the leader that we voted you to be.
I represent the thousands of West Virginians who are tired of being ignored and poisoned by Manchin and his corporate overlords. Shame on you, Joe Manchin. You should stand with the ordinary people of West Virginia and the country. In 2018, when thousands of your constituents alerted you to the dangers of a toxic factory being built in Jefferson County, you did nothing. Rockwell, a Danish corporation, wanted to export its pollution from Denmark to the U.S. by building a coal and fracked gas fueled factory directly across the street from a Title I elementary school and a low-income neighborhood. As a consequence of your inaction, that factory is operational and is now, the schoolyard is filled with acrid toxic fumes, and our water is already contaminated by metals and pollutants. West Virginians and the rest of the country deserve jobs that don't make us choose between employment and our health and our environment. Support the Build Better Act with us. Stand with us, Joe Manchin. Take a step forward and take your place in history.
That's right. Somebody's been hurting our people. Somebody's been poisoning the water, and we will not be silent anymore. I'm going to call states up two at a time. We have a powerful group of testifiers. So I'm going to introduce Reverend Tommy Algood out of the great state of Alabama, and Kevin Carter, Brother Carter out of California.
Come on down to Alabama and you'll be welcomed by a sign that says, "Welcome to Sweet Home, Alabama." And I'm here to tell you today there's nothing sweet for the 2.1 million of us who are living in poverty. There's nothing sweet about them denying us the right to vote. There's nothing sweet about the 85,000 who are uninsured, who are suffering and dying. There is nothing right about them criminalizing us for being poor and then spending $400 million of our funds to build 2 multi-billion-dollar prisons. There's nothing. Manchin and his kind have been carrying water for the corporations. But worse than that, when they pass policies that deny people the right to live, they're acting as hitmen. We are not sheep that would be led to the slaughter. We are fighters! And we will fight on, and we will go till we win. Forward together.
People of color, my sisters and brothers, my name is Brother Carter. I'm from the state of California. You've heard everybody speak today, but I'm going to leave you with something in poetry. We're in the fierce urgency of now, to where we have love on the front line. Love on the front line is a dangerous way to live, because in the end, no one wins. We don't get the things and the necessaries that holds to our lives today. 38 years ago, something happened in the state of California that reflects to our freedom and democracy. In 1848, James Marshall discovered gold at Sutter's Mill. Well, in 1983, was working as a security guard, I discovered gold. In 1909, Double Eagle, St. Gaudens. And I'm gonna leave you with this poem because this poem is about you. I found a coin of gold. It had the year 1909, and it was full of hope. This coin I found in its mystery. This lady stood for our history and the birthright of our democracy. This coin I found, I will always claim. It is for the people to see of its natural remains. You see, it's a gold coin of liberty that holds the interest and justice for all. May it remain and teach us all. And may the Spirit of God join us all, so we as a people never fall. God bless you. When we start from the bottom,
Everybody rise.
when we start from the bottom,
Everybody rise.
yes, let us continue to rise up, stand up, and speak up. God bless you.
All right. Indeed, when we lift from the bottom, everybody rises. All right, we got folk from Georgia and Florida next. I welcome Pastor Neil Tellier and Guadalupe de la Cruz. Give a hand for our people from the South.
Good afternoon. My name is Pastor Neil Tellier. I'm here today to implore our leaders to pass the Build Back Better plan and the voting rights legislation before the end of the fiscal year, but to end of this year, to help us combat the extremely classist and racist voting legislation that was passed and signed into law on March 25th in the state of Georgia. Senate Bill 202 is one of the most heinous bills that has ever been signed into law, ruining voting rights for all. It is not the lies that these provisions support, it's the lies that they are trying to validate in order to undermine our democracy. With 60% of those who are specifically responsible for creating these laws actually believing that the 2020 election was stolen. If it were not for these men believing that lie, they would have never changed these rules, because they had just changed it 4 years ago after the re-election of President Barack Obama to get 45 elected. They just changed them, and then they re-changed them 4 years later to fit their narrative. So I asked Senator Warnock today and Senator Ossoff that they compromise no longer and that we go forward together.
Your energy feeds me. Are we here? Estamos presentes. My name is Lupita. I am from the state of Florida. I'm here to tell you I'm a single mother to a sassy 7-year-old. And today I worked 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Sorry. I worked 3 jobs and found myself working and living paycheck to paycheck. I crunch numbers every day and say, if I work this many hours, I'm gonna make it happen. And that making happen was paying rent, was paying the light bill, and was buying groceries. There were several times my life was cut off, and like any parent, we stay strong for our kids and we hurt in silence. But today I stay silent no more. It matters to hear my story because other parents and caretakers are in this situation. The CTC helped me find a way to catch a break. CTC has benefited at least 4.7 million children, and that means 4 million children like mine are being supported and uplifted. That means parents and care providers have peace of mind during the holidays. So when the community shows up demanding more, it's because our government has the power to do so. So we say forward together, forward together, forward together.
You know, this campaign has an agenda. It's called the Third Reconstruction. Building from ending poverty and low wealth from the bottom up. So it's not that we have a scarcity of ideas. It's not that we have a scarcity of resources. We've got a scarcity of conscience and a scarcity of courage. And what we have are people who are in office who are engaging in political sin and abusive sin, political abuse. and we cannot accept it. Somebody say it's time with everything we have, every nonviolent tool we have, to throw it off and reshape the course of history. I want to ask impacted people who are coming now from Megan Drilling from Illinois, and Patrick Joseph from Sailing from Indiana, and Abraham Funches Jr. from Iowa, if all three of them would come at this time.
My name is Megan Drilling from the state of Illinois. There are 4.7 million people who are low income or poor. As a woman, I am angry that 58% of those people are women. Women are underrepresented in our misogynistic government and overrepresented in poverty. Women in Illinois need the Build Back Better plan. Our 2 Illinois senators are ready to vote for the Build Back Better plan, which is only a small step to help the women in Illinois. Yet Manchin and Sinema stand in our way. Kirsten, I'm speaking to you woman to woman. From our childhoods, we both know how easy it is for families to fall into poverty. You should want to help the poor. Help little Kirsten get out of that abandoned gas station. Kirsten, if the wealthy and the corporations paid their fair share, we can lift up the 78 million women living in poverty in our country. We should not have to beg Senator Sinema to do the bare minimum for women.
Tim Watt from Indiana. Oh, they got the wrong one now. Yeah, he's a co-chair, and they put him in the last minute. I was getting My name is Tim Watt. I'm also known as Harry Hippie. I don't have a clue why. I worked in automotive manufacturing in Indiana for over 20 years. After my marriage dissolved in divorce, I began suffering from severe anxiety and depression. I lost my last job, my last home, my health insurance, and my self-respect, becoming one of the 20 million poor in the Midwest industrialized states. In 2013, I packed everything I could on my back and hitched 20 miles to Indianapolis for homeless services for veterans. I didn't get much help. So I'm continuing my journey to help all Americans to build back better to get it done in 2021. This is why we demand Build Back Better in 21. Build Back Better will make health care, child care, and housing more affordable. Build Back Better is $170 billion per year versus National Defense Authorization for $778 billion per year. Let's get it done in 21.
700 people die from poverty and inequality every day. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to press our politicians to do their job and fight for the people across these United States of America. And we have the power to be great because all of us can serve. Dr. King said that. I want to leave you with this, with the hope that we might inspire some. If you can't be a pine on the top of the hill, then just be a shrub in the valley. But be the best little shrub by the side of the wheel. Be a bush if you can't be a tree. If you can't be a highway, then just be a trail. If you can't be the sun, be a star. Because it's not by size that you win or you fail. Just be the best at whatever you are. God bless
you. We have a statement from Jeffrey Sachs, who's a leading economist. And Jeffrey couldn't be here today, but he wanted us to tell you all that he's been the economists who know what's right and know what's moral and have been fighting this stuff with the figures. They are so overjoyed to see a movement coming together, a movement that is together, and they've made a commitment to organize at least 50 to 100 leading economists to come alongside the Poor People's Campaign. So that when they talk about we don't know what we're talking about, we say, yeah, we do, and our friends do as well. And so to the media, we're going to release it. Steve, I've sent it to you. I want you to release it to all the media. Now, the essence of it is Manchin lying.
Yes, he is.
And he know he's lying. When he says the reason he doesn't want to support it because inflation. Jeffrey Sachs and these economists said the inflation that we have is the result of COVID, the result of economic impact like we haven't seen since the Great Depression. It's a natural ebb and flow in the way our economy works. That the Build Back Better plan as a step is spread out over time. So it's over 10 years. So it's not going to increase or cause inflation. And if they really wanted to deal with inflation, they would raise the corporate tax like they're supposed to and make the wealthy pay their fair share. Stop lying, Manchin. We on your trail, baby. And we're coming, Senator. This ain't no movement to play with. We come with the facts. Huh? Now, if you're gonna do something, you better stop lying, because we're gonna catch you. Say, catch him, because we're tired of the abuse. And one of the things people that have been abused have to get are the facts. And one of the facts has to be you don't have to take it no more. You don't have to accept it. And so in a moment, we're gonna have two other economists that are gonna come and read a statement, because we always wanna have the right footnotes to our fight and our voice. At this time, we're gonna have the Reverend Letha Frazier from Kansas, and these are and talk about Reverend. I need y'all to tell you how you're impacted, because that's part of what we ask people to do today. And then our dear sister and fighter from Kentucky. Y'all here, I ain't got to say nothing. I ain't got to say nothing. Sister Vogel is always on time. And also Diana Marie Edwards from Maryland, if y'all would come at this time. Now we've got Sister Lord, I can't hardly read this here. Come down, I need some specs. Who is that? Marina Lahia. Who? Koyoke. Said you're gonna pay for all of the bail day. No, this is her credit card, and we got your wallet up here, baby, and we need you to come get it. We got a red iPhone. Anybody see a red iPhone? It's got Alabama, red iPhone, Attorney Fire Road. Give it up for Fire Road. Yeah. Red iPhone.
It has become increasingly clear to me that we as a nation are at a critical point. We must pass the Build Back Better plan as one step, or this nation is sending a message to its disabled and elderly folks that number at least 800,000 that are waiting on the Medicaid list because they need better health care and in-home services. We must send a message that we care about human life more than we care about militarism.
That's right.
And more than we care about militarizing our neighborhoods. So instead of words, we want action. So we ask that we get it past the Build Back Better plan in 2021.
All right, we in Washington, D.C., and y'all been a little bit too quiet for me. But let me get this going, okay? Total Kentucky, 170,000+ Kentuckians and millions across the nation still do not have the right to vote. That is immoral. We know that the people who are sworn into office, they know what we know. We know that the power of the vote will change the narrative. So they are trying to keep on suppressing, gutting out the voting rights, suppressing places all across the nation. That is immoral. The other thing I want to let you know is that dare they dare to dream that this nation is pulled together because of their racist policies. We have got to stop that now. I love M&Ms. They melt in your mouth and not in your hands. But the M&Ms that we are aware of, Manchin and McConnell, we need to take back this land. That we're putting them on notice. Here we come to put back this nation. Let me hear you say it.
Get it done in 2021. Get it done in 20. I can't hear you. Get it done in 2021. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, get it done in 2021. I am the Reverend Dana Edwards, and I am here representing the 2.3 million poor and low-income people in the state of Maryland. Yes, and I am here as the mother of 3 children with chronic illness. And I'm calling on Congress to pass the Build Back Better plan so that every parent can count on universal pre-K for their 3- and 4-year-olds. So that every parent continues to have access to the child tax credit to ease the burdens of the escalating costs of childcare and healthcare. And so that every parent has the peace of mind to know that if their child gets sick, they have the right to paid family medical leave. Congress, you have a chance today, right now, to show voters that you value families, that you value mothers like me. Stop stalling and pass the Build Back Better plan now. Get it done in 2021.
All right, let's get it done. Get it done. Get it done. All right, I want to introduce 3 powerful women. Savina Martin out of Massachusetts, Pamela Walker Dawson out of Michigan, and Vivian Marie Henry from Minnesota. Let's hear it from them now.
My name is Savina Martin, an impacted Army veteran from Massachusetts, and there are over 85,000 of us with incomes below $35,000, and we are sick and tired of fighting these endless wars and can't make enough to live. Stop the war on the poor. We demand housing, not a tent. We shouldn't have to come home from war and live in the subway station, on the street, in the breaks. The cost of wars has harmed over 900,000 families. This is insane. While the rich have a winter house and we have no room at the inn. This Build Back Better plan is just a step. We need to pass it, but not now. Tomorrow. Not now, tomorrow. Build our infrastructure of our lives. Pass that bill immediately. My name is Savina Martin, and we only get what we are organized to take. And everybody has a right to live.
Hello, my name is Pamela Walker Dawson. I'm from Michigan, especially from Detroit. I have been a Detroit election volunteer for 25 years. I was really pissed and upset when Michigan got accused of doing voter fraud. But there is a God in heaven on December 6th on December 6th, the Supreme Court overturned that false accusation. So I'm asking now that we expand the voting rights. It is a lifeline for democracy. Thank you.
Somebody say, stop the war!
Stop the war!
On the poor!
On the poor!
Stop the war!
Stop the war!
On the poor!
On the poor!
Can you put them in the air? In the air, stop the war!
Stop the war!
On the poor!
On the poor!
Stop the war!
Stop the war!
On the poor!
On the poor!
Right now!
Right now!
Right now!
Right now!
Build it up!
Build it up!
From the bottom!
From the bottom!
Build it up!
Build it up!
From the bottom!
From the bottom!
Everybody
Everybody
has a right to live. I just checked in. There are hundreds of thousands of people on live stream that are checking up. And they're on live stream saying we on live stream today, but when you mobilize June 18, 2022 for a mass poor people's low-wage workers assembly and moral march on Washington, we will be here to shake the foundation of this nation. Here's another fact for the media. The Institute of Policy Studies looked at this bill. Now this will make you say cuss. I'm sorry, I'm gonna make somebody cuss. They're gonna have to say at least damn. It says, and that's a big, good biblical word, that's why I keep using it. And it says a budget is a moral document. What does it say when we spend more for the Pentagon contracts to a single company in 1 year, Lockheed Martin, $75 billion, than we would spend for child care and preschool in the whole 10 years of the Build Back Better plan? Damn.
All right, so Vivian Marie Henry out of Minnesota. Then we got Emily Johnson out of Mississippi. And Angela Matalvo out of Nebraska. Give a big welcome to our sisters now.
Can everyone hear me? Hi, I'm Vivian Henry from Minnesota. That's what I thought. I'm short. I'm 4'11", so and I stand tall and I fight. All right, I just wrote this. I had I'm winging this, people, so please bear with me. I actually fell down and I started crying, but I got back up, and that's been my whole life because I was born a preemie. I was in the Xenia tornado, one of the worst ever in 1974. I've been through a lot of trauma in my life, and I've had to fight and fight and fight. I'm sick and tired, but I'm still fighting. I'm fighting back against the evil and the injustice that is going on. I've been poor for the past 5 years. I only get $203 general assistance in Minnesota per month, $191 SNAP food stamps, and Medicaid. And of course, I have 4 mental health challenges and a whole bunch of other stuff. So and I actually had a friend who told me that they should take away my Medicaid. Are you kidding me? And he basically called me a welfare queen. Really? $203 cash per month? How am I a welfare? He said because of the health care. I get such expensive health care. That's insane.
That's right.
I deserve health care. Everyone deserves health care. And I told everyone to pull me because I don't know how long I have now. But the fight. Keep on fighting. We have to fight. It's good versus evil. This is not Democrats versus Republicans.
That's right.
It's good versus evil. And we have to fight the evil. The evil can't win. It's immoral. All right. It's pour it together.
My sister called it. And she's using language that's as old as the Bible. That says when you hurt the poor and you rob them, it's a form of evil. Now they don't like that word, but it's time to get real. When folk die that don't have to die, it's a form of evil. When every politician in that Congress gets free health care just because they got elected and then don't want the people that elected them to have the same thing they have, that's a form of political evil. My sister, we got you. Somebody put your hand and say, we got you. Look at somebody and say, if you fall, we'll pick you up. And keep right on fighting. We're tired, but we're not tired of fighting. We're tired of them and their foolishness. And that's why we fight.
Oh, and never can say one more thing. Mental health experts matter. Listen to them. All right, thank you.
My name is Emily Johnson, and I'm from Mississippi. And I want to emphasize that exploitation does not have a face, color, or a party. I'm here as a sex trafficking survivor, formerly incarcerated and living in long-term recovery from drug addiction. And I'm a low-wage worker. I'm a single mother of 4 working 2 jobs, 7 days a week for the last 4 years. I'm barely making ends meet. I am tired. I have been faced with many challenges in my life due to a broken system in the state of Mississippi that has a long history of punishing the poor while rewarding the corrupt, wealthy class. I'm here today and I stand with the Poor People's Campaign and I demand that you pass the Build Back Better plan, as this affects the livelihood of my family and myself. I deserve a fair chance. I deserve better higher wages, better health care, and expansion of our voting rights.
Y'all know they don't like all this diversity, don't they? They might as well get used to it!
My name is Angela Montalvo, and I represent the Nebraska Poor People's Campaign and the 642,000 poor and low-wealth Nebraskans. I'm one of 34,000 veterans in Nebraska with incomes less than $35,000. We are 25% of the Nebraska veteran population. The provisions of the Build Back Better plan are being funded through taxes on corporations and the wealthy, people and businesses who have not been paying a fair share in their taxes. Meanwhile, my fellow Nebraskans and I have contributed a total of $33.2 billion in the past 20 years to war. The time has come to invest in our communities, our children, and we the people. Forward together!
You know, I had somebody, they were caught, one day they were telling Liz and I, they were kind of saying it in an offhanded way. They kind of complaining. They said to me, why don't you just hang around black people? And they were asking Liz, why don't you just hang around white people? And we said, why don't you just shut up and let us be a little Because it don't matter to us if you black, if you Latino, if you Pacific Asian, if you indigenous, if you're whatever you are, gay or straight or trans or single or divorced or whatever you are, we are America. We are God's creation and we ain't going nowhere. And so we got Carol Gay-Fenty from New Jersey, and Tanisha, is that right? Tanisha Lattimore from New York, and Brian Mallory from Ohio, and Marina Smith from Oklahoma. Come on up at this time.
Good afternoon. Carol Gay from New Jersey. And New Jersey's message for Congress today is we have heard enough. We have had enough. We have heard enough talk, enough excuses, enough evasion. People are hurting, and it's time for action. Get it done in 2021. First, our message for Joe Manchin and his Maserati is that the growing inequality gap, the ever-widening wealth gap is obscene and immoral. So tax the ultra-wealthy. Tax the mega-rich. Number two, healthcare is a human right. Our seniors deserve better. Pass, improved, expanded Medicare and Medicaid now. And third, Congress, wake up. We have a climate crisis. Our children deserve a future. Invest in clean energy, clean renewable energy now. And lastly, move the money from militarism to meet human needs. Stop lining the pockets of the greedy military contractors. Put people first. Put people first. Put people first. Put people first.
My name is Tanisha Logan Lattimore, and I live in upstate New York. I'm a mother of 8 young black men. I'm here to advocate for your family and mine. I'm tired of the injustices. I'm tired of the struggle. I am tired of the fear and being treated as less than. I preach to my family the importance of the right to vote and to be upstanding citizens and to carry themselves with love and respect, despite the fact that they do not get it in return. I am tired of being sick and tired. And I have decided that I must be a part of the change instead of hoping that someone else will do it. I am standing arm in arm with my brothers and sisters, fighting for the social justice, the right to vote, human rights,
quality health care, and a safe and secure place to raise our families. Clean water and the right to be black and live safely in the United States. We must show our children and others that identify with them that you have to make a stand and be willing to use your voice, your mind, your body to live equally and safely. Let's get it done in 2021.
Good afternoon, my name is Brian Mallory, and I'm introducing myself because my grandfather Mallory used to say it's good to be met, but better than being viewed. And in my community in Cleveland, Ohio, where I live, every day we see the intersection of the 5 interlocking evils. In my city that has a world-famous healthcare facility, we have some of the highest infant mortality rate rivaling the third world. I live in a city that is so over-policed. We know what that feels like. In my neighborhood, where we have ecological devastation and people who are going without their needs being met, we know what that looks like every day. I live in a senior citizen building and public housing, and I know everybody has a right to live. Everybody has a right to thrive. In the richest country that has ever been in the history of the world, this is our time, this is our moment. We cannot allow this to stand any longer. So I'm here in the city where I was born, and I'm asking, which side are you all on?
Which side are you on?
Are you gonna stand with me? Are we gonna fight? We're gonna get it done in 2021, right? This is the first step. We need this third reconstruction.
That's right.
We're not playing about this.
That's right.
We're coming back, and we're gonna be here, and we're not going anywhere. Thank you, y'all. We love it.
One thing a movement has to know is when you're selling wolf tickets and when you really have power. What they don't want us to understand is that poor and low-wealth people now represent 30% of the electorate and 40% in battleground states. And in this country, if we could just organize 20% of poor and low-wealth people who didn't vote, who are already registered, we could change every election in every state. You're not going to hear that from the pundits. You're not going to hear that from the political operatives. They tell them don't even talk about poverty. Don't talk about the poor people. But we have to know that just like in the Bible when they had the children of Israel locked up, the Bible says, and they grew in the midst of the oppression. And Pharaoh looked out one day and said, Lord, have mercy. There's more of them than there are of us. God has let us live long enough to where the poor and low-wealth people are no longer in the margins of society. And we have power. Turn to somebody and say, power, 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 moral power, standing power, voting power. And tell them if you've got power to do right, you ought to use it. Are you all ready? Say systemic racism. We're going to use our power to change it. Systemic poverty. We're going to use our power to change it. Ecological devastation, denial of health care, underfunding education, the war economy, the false narrative of religious nationalism, white supremacy. Here we come in love, in justice, in nonviolence, but in power. You all have been doing so great. We got 25 minutes before we hit the streets. Y'all ready? We got to work through everybody here. We think we got a few more people to speak, but just before, y'all come here a second. You know, we are a movement that understands that you got to sing. So for 30 seconds, Liz, 30 seconds, we want you to open your mouths loud as you can with your mask. And there's a song, y'all, I'm going to start it off key, you find the right key. Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on?
Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on? We're on the freedom side. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Ella Baker is a freedom fighter. She taught us how to fight. And we gon' fight all day and night until we get it right. Which side are you on? 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 Reverend Liz is a freedom fighter. She taught us how to fight. And we gon' fight all day and night until we get it right. Which side are you on? 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 You know Bishop Barber is a freedom fighter. Taught us how to fight. And we gon' fight all day and night until we get it right. Which side are you on? Which side are you on? Which side are you on, my people? Which side are you on? 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 Which side are you on?
That's right. We've been posing that question to our politicians. Senator Manchin, Senator Sinema, Senator McConnell. Which side are you on? Because we're on the people's side. I want to call up Marianne Smith out of Oklahoma. And then after her, we're going to hear from Rabbi Michael Pollack out of Pennsylvania. We're going to hear from Pamela Poniatowski out of Rhode Island. And Reverend Amiri Hooker out of South Carolina.
Senators, our children are our future and we are failing them. You are failing them. And we are here to demand that you change this now. I am a mom, a grandma of 6. Never did I think that my grandchildren would have less access to health care or the ballot box than I did at their age. But here we are. Even though the citizens voted to expand Medicaid in 2020 in Oklahoma, our politicians have yet to abide by the rule of the people. This directly affects thousands of our children. Oklahoma children need and deserve this legislation. Let's get this done in 2021. Pass the Build Back Better bill and voting rights legislation now. For the sake of our children, grandchildren, and future.
My name is Rabbi Michael Pollack, and I'm coming to you today from Pennsylvania. In Pennsylvania, last night, 1 in 7 children went to bed hungry. In Pennsylvania, every year, we produce 1% of the world's greenhouse gas emissions. And in Pennsylvania, in Pennsylvania, bribery and corruption are 100% legal. Over a century ago, a corrupt Pennsylvania U.S. senator and political machine boss named Boise Penrose sat down with his oligarch donors, with Rockefeller, with Carnegie, with Mellon, and he said to them, I believe in the division of labor. You send us to Congress, we pass laws that make you money. And out of the money you make, you further contribute to our campaign to send us back here to make you more money. And that's the game that we're here to break. That's the corruption that Senator Manchin and Senator Sinema are carrying out every day. That's what we are here to stop. The prophet Ezekiel said, "In your people are people who take bribes to shed blood." The blood of our brothers and sisters cries out to us, and we will not stand idly by. Forward together!
Hi, I'm Pamela. After working for 30 years, I became disabled and have been on a waiting list for housing for 3 years so far, staying in friends' homes. I'm one of those people that is $400 away from disaster. The recent letter I received from one of the housing developments in Rhode Island told me that I don't make enough money to qualify for low-income housing. How absurd is that? Also in Rhode Island, we currently have 1,200 people asking for beds this winter because otherwise they will be out on the street. That is unacceptable in a country as rich as ours. We have 5 vacant houses for every homeless person. The Build Back Better bill would begin to help us with the low-income housing shortage by prioritizing the building of 1 million low-income housing units. But if we do not stop evictions by creating a moratorium or debt relief, there will be tens of millions of people out in the streets, and many of them will be children. Do we want children in the streets? No! Protect voting rights and get it done in 2021.
Thank you. Somebody's phone is ringing. Oh, that's the ice cream truck. They need to play an ambulance. It's an emergency around here. We got just the people. Come on, big man. This is my brother. Y'all know that, right?
This is Reverend Amari Bernard Hooker. I'm a pastor in South Carolina, in rural South Carolina.
That's it.
And I'm sick of my members, my community, and my neighbors being killed and crying and dying while politicians elected and appointed are not doing their job to take care of the people and to help the community. And it is time up and time out for that kind of foolishness. You need to understand, this is not just about the Build Back Better plan.
That's right.
This is about people in our community falling by the wayside, being left by the side of the road, being left in the pimple, and not having any help. I am tired of the cowardness of our elected officials. I'm tired of them playing poverty monopoly with hurting people. It is time out for such. I know, and they know, in South Carolina, the minimum wage should be $24.93 an hour. And it's still $7.25. And that's not just biblically wrong, that's morally wrong. It's a damn shame to allow folk to work every day and still be hungry. And you know what? I'm tired of it. And I'm sick of it. Of burying my members by suicide when just $2 an hour. The campaign found out would have saved 5,700 folk from committing suicide. I'm tired of burying my members.
That's right.
I'm tired of burying my community. I'm tired of senators not doing their job. Senator Scott and Senator Graham.
Yeah.
Let's get them down and let's do it right. Forward together.
Let's stop. Let's stop.
All right.
Everybody has the right to live.
Everybody. All right, I got 6 more state leaders I'm going to call up right in a row. Everyone's going to be ready with their points. We got Edie Amanda Lowe out of Tennessee. We got Jack Golub out of Texas. We have Reverend Joan Javier Duval out of Vermont. Ian Schaefer Lorenz out of Washington State. Eric Peterson out of Wisconsin. And Pastor Vance Haywood out of North Carolina.
And we just got another report. Thousands more have joined us online. Thousands more. In a moment, we're going to need you to do something. Come on up, y'all.
Hey, y'all. I hail from the great state of Tennessee. My name is Edith Amanda Love. I'm a Unitarian Universalist minister. I am queer and unemployed. I am the mother of 5 children, 2 of whom are transgender, and I come from a state where poverty is 38%. 2.5 million people in my state live in poverty, and that is evil. That is evil. There's plenty of money to go around. Plenty of it. It's evil to hoard the money and keep it from people who have basic human rights like food and shelter. It is just plain evil. It is wrong, and it is time to get it done in 2021.
That's my other brother.
Why do you even have to protest?
God, say that!
One of my students asked me.
Say that. Yes, sir.
What a good question. I live on Cesar Chavez Street in Austin, and nearby we got one of his quotes. We don't need perfect political systems, we need perfect participation. Now, as a teacher, I know the value of participation. My students' voices tell me their needs. My state wants to ignore the needs of my students and their families. Here's one student's family. Mom is at home all day working for a young child. Dad's out working construction. My student comes back immediately, is taking care of her sibling so that her mom can go work as a cook for the night. When dad gets back, he's too tired to even heat up the food that his wife left him. And so my student feeds her father. Mom and dad don't have the time or energy to spend hours at a voting place. They don't get to participate. That's why we have to protest.
I'm the Reverend Joan Javier Duval from the state of Vermont. Under the golden dome of our state capitol, just 3 blocks from the church that I serve, our governor has vetoed legislation that would raise the minimum wage. He has vetoed legislation that would institute paid medical leave. Meanwhile, low-income workers and immigrant farm workers still don't have adequate wages or health care. Meanwhile, our homeless shelters are overflowing. People living on the streets are dying, and drug overdoses are surging. We are sick and tired of the death by neglect. We are sick and tired of those in power turning away from the suffering across our green mountains. We are sick and tired of the lack of leadership. We need federal legislation that doesn't just offer a helping hand, but that saves lives. Congress, it is time to act now. Take this first step, pass the Build Back Better plan. Everyone deserves a right to live. Get it done.
My name is Ian, and I'm an organizer with the WAPPC. I'm a queer retail and restaurant worker. My state is home to 2.5 million poor and low wealth folks, and our needs cannot wait. We are represented by 2 senators, so I am told, but I don't know about it because they don't talk to us much about the issues that count.
That's right.
For months, we've called on Senators Maria Cantwell and Patty Murray to apply direct pressure on Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, but they've been silent. It is disgraceful that my senators allowed 2 votes to stand between us and critical legislation. We demand 15 in a union, expansion, not restoration, expansion of voting rights, immigrant protections, the protection of Oak Flat, and Build Back Better. Fun fact, Patty Murray is the 3rd highest ranking Senate Democrat. She's been a senator longer than I've been alive. She has the power to move Manchin and Sinema. And so we are organizing people all across Washington state, bringing thousands in, demanding Patty Murray, Maria Cantwell, get it done in 2021.
Hello, everyone. Beautiful day, huh? Isn't it gorgeous out here? I'm happy to be here. I come from Madison, Wisconsin. Yay, Wisconsin. And there's an encampment in a park called Rindall Park that's all homeless people. I'm here to talk to you today about homelessness. There are dozens of people living in this park that recently they were all evicted, and they were told to go elsewhere, find another place to live. They provided what they call tiny homes, and you might have heard of those before. And their tiny homes are very poorly insulated. They're cold, they're small. It's not a humane way to live. So we're calling on everyone to get into the Build Back Better plan that'll increase the earned income tax credit for working families and people around the world, around the nation.
Yes, sir.
So we're coming for you, Ron Johnson. Thank you.
I think he's serious. He took his time to say that.
My name is Vance Haywood, and I'm a queer pastor of a queer church in Raleigh, North Carolina. Last night in Raleigh, North Carolina, the temperatures dropped to 27, and 107 people sought shelter in our church, an emergency shelter that was set up to literally save lives. Those 107 people included families with children. It included trans folk. It included queer folk. This is literally a matter of life and death. This is not about comfort. It isn't about just coming and making a show. This is literally about saving people's lives. This year alone in the United States, over 40 trans people have been murdered or killed because of them simply being who they are. Over 40 here in the United States of America. The majority are black trans women. The vast majority. Something has to change. Their lives matter. Something has to change. And if they don't start passing the voting rights and protections now, we will continuously see these lives slaughtered, murdered. Something has to change. Get it done in 21.
Something has to change. And we are the change that must make the change happen. You know, my brother Hayward, that's another thing they told us. You know, we got to keep straightening folk out in the Poor People's Campaign. I had some friends, some people come and say, you know, if y'all would organize without the queer and the trans and the gay folk, we would join you. Well, we don't need you if that's your attitude. You're going to get converted after a while. But we want everybody that loves everybody that help raise the change that everybody ought to have. We had a sister that came up from Maine, and she left at 10 o'clock last night. They just got here. And nowhere in the world we were going to push forward without letting her speak. Is that right? That's right. Because in a movement that you say you care about poor people, and Lord, you got to care about one another. So come on, my dear sister. Where is she? Hey, 10 o'clock last night. Yes. Lord have mercy, just got here. Yes. But you here now. Well, we ready to fight. You here now. All right, all right.
I'm here for, I'm ready for I'm here now. Y'all are here now. We are ready to do this. My name is Denise Smith. I am from Bangor, Maine. I'm a grandmother of 5. A mother of 5, a grandmother of 2. I'm a community mother. I share my resources with my community to give them a better community. I cook for the homeless every Saturday. We go into the encampments and give these people food and the information that they need to have a better life. As
all right.
I know, I got it. I'm a fighter. I don't stop until I drop, and I don't drop very much. And my people from Maine, we don't drop much neither.
That's right.
Okay. We go to the Congress office, Susan Collins, Agnes King, Gerald Golden, and now I want to go there.
That's right.
I want to be one of the people in my community that stands up for my community because I live for my community. even though that's not what's on my paper right now.
That's what's in your heart.
But it's coming from my heart. And I believe that my community can do better. And my community works very strong together. We just lost 3 gentlemen December 5th. 3 days before, on December 1st, we had to clean out their encampments. And they had no place to go. Well, there was a fire on Union Street in my city of Bangor. We lost 3 of the men that were in the encampments. My city right now is grieving. They should not be grieving. The city council should be stepping up and doing the right thing. And they are not. So I am going to drive them crazy because that's what I do. And that's what I'm gonna do. And me and all my community friends and my fellow people of the PPC, we are going to make sure they give us the right answers because we are not going to take no more.
That's it. No more. And the truth is, what we do, they call it crazy, but it's sanity. So we're going to drive them crazy so they can get sane. Because it's a form of it's morally inconsistent and irreprehensible, and it's economically insane to see what's happening. And none of it has to be. None of this has to exist. Don't believe none of this poverty. It does not have to be. And let me tell you all, they are more worried about us organizing than they let on.
Yes, they are.
That's why they do so hard, both sides of the aisle, to try to never even say the word poverty or low wage. Yes. Now listen, we've got to move into the street. We had 39 partners, but we said to all our partners, we always put the people first. Impacted. I'm going to ask 4 of those partners to come for their 1 minute. Then when we get to the street, we're going to Pennsylvania Avenue. Since we're going to be there in 2022, we might as well start there in 2021. Now 2022, we're going to fill it all the way up, from one end to the other. Is that right? But today, we're going to take it to the street. We're going to engage in direct action. I'm going to ask 4 groups to come, and each of these leaders to come. They are partners and stand with. And then when we get there, we got a mobile mic. And we're going to ask the other partners. I need Kate up here. I need Rob up here. We're going to have that mobile mic so the other partners, Liz is going to call you while we're in the street so you can continue to give your speaking then. And the cameras and all are rolling. Now we're going to need you to start tweeting out and texting. We're getting ready to do that. You need to take a picture. The thousands have come and tens of thousands online. Take a picture of the crowd, send it out, say we're getting ready to hit the streets. Now the last thing I want to mention to you is you got to understand in movements, the powers that be, sometimes on both sides, they have strategy too. And so we heard last night that they were going to first try to target Liz and I for something different. And then they said, well, we couldn't really do it for her because she didn't have quite the many same arrests here. They did it 2 years ago when she did Supreme Court. So they want me to act so that the headlines are about me and not about you. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Yeah. And see, servant leaders have to know how to get out the way. Because they'll play you, you'll play your ego. See, they want the headlines to be, Reverend Barber stayed in jail overnight and da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Rather than people came from 33 states in the nation. Well, I'm an old dog. I might not look like it, but I've been doing this a long time. And plus, the Holy Spirit gives you wisdom. So the Spirit, the lawyers will tell you, listen, when I made this decision, I was sitting up here. I've been praying and thinking. I said, well, okay, God, you got a way. So what I'm going to ask is 10 people that are not going today that will be in town tomorrow. If you will find Kate. Kate, where you at? Come on over here. Get close. Don't get scared. Get close. Now give it up for one of our national directors. I want you to find her and say, I'll go into the Senate building tomorrow. And so what we're going to do is, since they want to try to make only the issue about one person, we're not going to let them do that. Capitol Police, y'all like, I don't know who told y'all that, but it's another trick coming. We're going to find a way to go do a sit-in tomorrow in Manchin's office. But again, not me. See, that's the problem. We got too many leaders that want to get in a back room with these folk. And you can't negotiate in the back room if you don't have a movement in the front room. You don't have any power. And so are y'all cool with that? Liz is going to stand with, but we want the story to be that 33 people, impacted folk from states all across this country came to this and said, we're not having it anymore, we're sick and tired of it. And that you either get it done in 2021, all of it, not some of it. And we're going to continue to mobilize and mobilize, because you not caring about the 140 million poor and low-wealth people in this country is non-negotiable. It stops now. And so we want to ask one sister, Dr. Suzanne Frederick Gray, powerful president of the Unitarian Universalist Association. My dear sister Virginia with the League of Women Voters, and she has, I believe, Sister is that right? Christina with her. If Barbara Alwine with the Justice Coalition is here. Joanne Vance with the American Friends Committee. We want to ask our dear sister with the Institute for Policy Study. And then we want to ask Black Voters Matter. Now I know every one of these folks is a dissertation in and of themselves. We asked them to take the same minute that the people took. There are others that are on this list. When we get to the street, we're going to have a mic there. We can continue to do this. But are they all behind me? Y'all see, because y'all looking mighty hard. All right, bring it.
I'm here representing 1,000 Unitarian Universalist congregations across the country who hold democracy, the right to vote, and the quality and dignity of every single life as sacred. We demand that the Senate pass the Build Back Better Act, for all people, all children and families deserve a healthy life, economic stability, and the opportunity to thrive. And we demand that the Senate pass the Freedom to Vote Act and the John Lewis Voting Act right now, because democracy cannot wait. Voter suppression is the single greatest threat facing our nation. Through hundreds of legislative cuts across the country, Republicans are taking away people's voice and vote. And it's not just a threat to our democracy, it is an attack on the dignity and the worth and the rights of every person. And we will not stop until we win.
That's right.
Get it done. 2021.
Madam President.
My name is Virginia K. Solomon. I am the CEO of the League of Women Voters of the United States. I am here representing more than 500,000 of our members and activists to say that now is the time to pass Build Back Better, to pass voting rights legislation. See, we don't have time to keep playing with people who got into office because of the work that we did. The time is now for them to deliver their promise to us, and it's not just up on Capitol Hill. Now let me say, we got a president right down the street who can make this a priority, and he has chosen not to do so. He has made a conscious decision to put bridges before people.
That's right.
He has made a conscious decision to put other things before the people who got him into office. But I'm not going to take up too much time, because I want Christina Schlate, who is the president of our League of Women Voters in Michigan, to be able to speak, because they are going through hell in Michigan right now. And this woman right here is standing on the front lines.
Thank you. We are combating voter suppression in Michigan, and in 2018, in Michigan, 81% of the voters supported election reform. They voted to protect the affidavit, so if you forget your ID, you can still vote. They voted to have no reason absentee ballot. And in 2020, 5.5 million people voted in Michigan, and 2/3 of them were absentee. Now our own legislatures are taking steps to make it harder to vote through over 39 bills to suppress voting rights. And a ballot signature initiative is on the streets for signature that will turn back the clock significantly, all in the name of election integrity. We've had over 150 audits by the Secretary of State and local election officials validating the integrity. If this initiative gets the 340,000 signatures that is required, the legislature can make it law without the governor saying anything, and that's less than 4% of the people that will make it happen. We want to protect your rights. Thank you.
As others come, let me tell you how slick Joe Manchin is. Well, we got to be careful. You know, he negotiated so-called his Freedom to Vote Act. Inside that act, most people have not read it. Civil rights groups better read it. There's some good stuff in there. But inside it, they codify voter ID for the first time in the history of the world, nation. And most reporters and all aren't even reporting it. We support the original For the People's Act, because that's what he supported before it was possible to pass. But now he's trying to play three-card Molly. I don't play cards, I don't like Molly. Molly's okay. Oh Lord, I messed up. There's a Molly.
Hey everybody! We got a word for those people in front of you who are sitting in a building that was built by black slaves. We're here to say to them that they got a job to do. They can't be talking about they're going to go on recess and they haven't passed the Voting Rights Act, all the protections that we need, that this man, John Lewis, gave his life for. We demand that the White House give the leadership now to this movement. We want them to say, stop talking these lies that we can out-organize this problem. Stop talking this lie that we can out-litigate this problem. There is only one answer to 19 states that have passed voter suppression laws. There's only one answer to all this election subversion. There's only one answer to all of this work that they're doing to purge people from election boards. There's only one answer to the gerrymandering. That is, pass the acts now! 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 Free to vote! Free to vote! Free to vote!
That's right. Don't mess with them.
Hi everyone, my name is Joanna Vance and I am a wife, mom, friend, and organizer in West Virginia. I like to say that I am all of those things as a direct result of being a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorder. I'm standing here today in 2021 wondering why much of our government still has an 1800 mentality. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps. What bootstraps? Those broke away years ago, and the definition of insanity is doing the same thing repeatedly and expecting different results. We need a plan, and that's what the Build Back Better agenda is. A plan that could revitalize our economic and community life, addressing poverty, care for children and the elderly, health coverage, access to education, jobs, infrastructure, climate, and so much more. The Build Back Better agenda will be a major down payment for America's future, one which we hope will eventually ensure a healthy and inclusive society in which all people can live a life with dignity and thrive, not just survive.
That's right. That's right. Y'all notice that we don't separate issue. It was a major strategic error not just of the White House, but even of many who are organizing to split these issues. The same people against voting rights are the same people against BBB, are the same people against Medicare and health care, the same people against living wages, and if they are cunning enough to be together, we ought to be smart enough to come together. Sarah Anderson from the Institute for Policy Studies.
Hey y'all, we all know that in the richest country in the world, we have plenty resources to take care of our people and our planet. The problem is, too much of it is going into the pockets of the wealthy and into the war budget. Last week, the House passed a Pentagon budget that costs 4 times as much as the life-saving investments in the Build Back Better Act. And in 2017, Republicans passed tax cuts for the wealthy and big corporations that also cost more than all of those investments in the Build Back Better Act. They want us to believe that what's good for billionaires is good for us. That trickle-down scam is a scam, and we all know it. But we are so close to passing a bill that rejects that nonsense, that raises nearly $2 trillion from the wealthy and big corporations to invest in human needs. And we are this close because of you, because of the Poor People's Campaign and so many movements who are demanding a moral economy. It is time for Congress to get it done in 2021.
Say a moral economy. Dr. King said that the reason for voter suppression was not just to attack black folk. It's maybe targeted at black folk, but this voter suppression is targeted at the entire progressive voice in this country. He said the voter suppressors fear the coalition of poor and low wealth people of all races coming together and being able to vote in a way that challenges the aristocracy and changes the economic architecture of the nation. That's why we must be together. These last two brothers and sisters come first from Black Voters Matter. They understand this. They understand that fighting for black folk has always meant lifting up all folk who need justice in this nation.
Good afternoon. My name is Wanda Mosley. I'm the National Field Director of Black Voters Matter. At the same time, I'm excited to be here with you. I'm also frustrated that we have to be here yet again to demand, not ask, demand protection from the federal government to save our right to vote. We need these lawmakers to understand that right now in Benton Harbor, Michigan, people are lined up to receive water from the state because of the lead in their pipes.
That's right.
Right now in Denmark, South Carolina, people are taking empty jugs and pitchers to a stream to fill them up with water because they don't have clean drinking water.
That's right.
People need to understand that climate change is real. Ask our neighbors in Kentucky. Ask our neighbors in Tennessee. Ask our neighbors in Illinois who just survived one of the largest tornadoes this country has ever seen. And this is man-made. So I'm here today to remind you, we must keep fighting because history shows us when we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. When we fight, we win. Thank you.
This last sister who's coming, and then the others are going to speak on Pennsylvania Avenue. You can trust this sister in the back room and in the front room. She does not change. And so I want to invite Melanie Campbell to come and light it up before we go to the street.
Thank you, Reverend Barber. Reverend Barber, I know I'm going to bootleg being I'm not a preacher, but I had this paper, but this came to me. Okay, come on. Matthew 25, 40, 45. The king will reply, truly, I tell you, whatever you did for one of the least of these brothers and sisters of mine, you did for me. Then he will say to those on his left, depart from me, you are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels. For I was hungry, and you gave me nothing. to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me nothing to drink. I was a stranger, and you did not invite me in. I needed clothes, and you did not clothe me. I was sick and in prison, and you did not look after me. They also will answer, Lord, when did we see you hungry or thirsty or a stranger or needing clothes or sick or in prison and did not help you? He will reply, truly I tell you, whatever you did not do for one of the least of these, you did not do for me.
That's it. That's it.
Get it done, said it.
Get it done.
Get it done, Magic. Get out of the way. Get out of the way. White House, do your job.
That's right.
The people united will never be defeated.
Say it. Her and her group have been doing it every Wednesday. We started on Mondays. July, they started on Wednesdays. That's what it's going to take. Us moving in our silos and knowing when to bring those silos together. And we have a prophetic word at the end of all of this today. Mansion, cinema, White House, whoever is playing games and not doing everything you can to deal with these issues that didn't start with COVID, but were exposed by COVID. You are not just fighting us. You're fighting the God of history. You are engaging in sin. And you put the nation's soul at risk. It has always moved me, Melanie, that text from Matthew that's built out of Old Testament text. It does not say, I will say to individuals. It does not say, I will say to the Senate. It does not say, I will say to the Congress. It says, I will say to the nation. All of these attempts, we gave over $5 trillion in less than 20 months to corporations. And can't find 1.9 trillion over 10 years to take just a step. And then on top of that, you want to block the ability of the people to give you a report card at the voting booth. This is not just a threat to this moment. It is a threat to our children's children and this entire democracy. And we cannot let history go down and history not record that there was somebody that said, we will not accept this. So now we go to the streets for nonviolent direct action. And this is just a precursor. I want to say it to all the media that's here. If you think this is an action, you watch how we mobilize when we don't have to be so COVID safe.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And so we're going to ask all the persons who have, come up here, Kate. She's going to explain to you what to do as we move. Those persons, organizations that need to speak, we come to the street with us. We're going to do that right over there. Begin to tweet it out that we're going in the street, looking in the Capitol, making the sign. I need 10 of you all, if you will, come from West Virginia, Kentucky, whoever, that can stay overnight for tomorrow. But today, we want them to understand this is not Biden against Manchin, or Sinema against Manchin and Biden, or Biden against Sinema. This is the powers that are expecting us to consent that they're constant keeping their feet on the necks of the people. How many of you don't consent to that? Will you say, I do not consent? Is there a dissent? Is there moral dissent in this house? We are the moral dissent, and we refuse to give any more consent to the continuous hurt and demeaning of poor and low-wealth people across this nation. And it is so.
All right, are y'all ready to take the streets? All right, now let's have some quick instructions, and everybody listening, can I get an amen? All right, everyone who has an armband on, please raise your hand up high. Everyone in the action, look at the folks who are raising their hands. The people who are gonna go first are the folks with the armbands. These are our Impact Estate leaders, our faith leaders from across our state campaigns. They are going to go first and walk over towards where all the marshals in the vests are. Marshals, can you raise your hands? Only state leaders first, please, with armbands. The folks doing the direct action go in front. Everyone else, once you see them gathered at the front of the line, we will invite the rest of the partners and the faith leaders to come behind. And then we will have everyone else in the action here line up down the sidewalk, having a straight line formation. And if we can go 2 by 2, that means 2 people, and 2 people behind. We'll all line up, and then we will hear from our marshals when we're going to get started. Can I get a forward together?
So I wanted it to be 2 separate streams.
Forward together!
That was the conclusion of a couple hours of speaking here in front of the Capitol, led by Reverend Dr. William Barber. And they're about to hold a direct action on Pennsylvania Avenue. So like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. But Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, I will be live again.